Fighting. How do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're live here on WYSL. So give us a call if you want to participate in the discussion, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. Or we have an 800 number too, 866-552-1009. 866-552-1009. Whichever one you want to call in. And of course, we're not only live on WYSL, we're live on our Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, and the Kevin Wilson Facebook page and Twitter account as well. Wherever you're listening today, thank you for being here. Shout out down the line to our friends listening over at WACK out in Newark as well. Appreciate y'all. And our podcast listeners too. All of y'all. Y'all are great. But if you're listening online, leave your comments. Got a few things to talk about today. So we'll talk more about the new stuff coming out in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. There's also the Ahmaud Arbery trial, which is wrapping up. And these are they kind of address some sort of related issues, and I'll get to that in a second. But a few other things I want to head to. Cuomo getting his book deal re-examined by an ethics panel. So it looks like they rescinded approval for that, and couldn't happen to a better guy. So we'll talk about that too. And then I got some COVID stuff, including, my own family being impacted by quarantine policy. Maybe I'll talk about that one first, because that one's interesting. So officially, my son's he was in quarantine because someone at his daycare got COVID, which sad. And my son's pretty young; he's under a year old, and another infant got it. So it does happen. Some kids do get that, but because of that, son had to be in quarantine for 10 days. And, he is a joy to be around. It was great. Tough to work with him there, but he had to be in quarantine for 10 days. The frustrating part about some of this, though, is first of all, you can't test out of it, right? We can't just say wouldn't he start showing symptoms eventually? Can we just do a PCR test, show that he doesn't have it? Nope. Can't test out of it. 10 days. Used to be 14 days, 10 days now. And the other thing is too, and I don't know if it's just the particular person that called us, or if it's this is what their policy is, but just the kind of, if it is what they're using, the template that they're using for everyone, again, with my son who's under a year old, still little infant, what they recommended we do with him is insane and doesn't apply. And it's one of those situations where the government takes a ridiculous ham-fisted approach to addressing problems that don't take into account the individual circumstances of any family that may be looking at that may be dealing with the situation, right? So again, what they told us to do, again, hopefully this isn't what they're telling everyone to do, and I don't think anyone would listen to it even if this was what New York State were telling everyone to do, is that they were saying, okay, make sure you isolate your son in a room by himself, maybe have him take out his garbage, maybe feed him, leave his meals outside, and my wife's he's under a year old. He's an infant. You can't do that. We can't just leave him alone. We can't leave an infant isolated by himself. That's ridiculous advice. And they're like, oh, well, we just have to read that. And well, don't you? Maybe this is an individual circumstance. Maybe my anecdote is not what everyone else is getting, but they told us to leave our son by himself, make him use his private bathroom. I'm what is his private bathrooms in this diaper, folks? We can't, we're not going to leave our infant son alone. Again, if he was sick, then, my wife and I are vaccinated, maybe we'd get sick, maybe we wouldn't, who knows, but we're not leaving him alone. That's insane. It's ridiculous advice if that is what New York State is telling to other people. I haven't been able to find that out. If you guys have had any experience with this, particularly with very young children, if New York State is telling you to leave your infant children or young children alone by themselves in their room, I'd love to hear from you. Again, give us a call, 585-346-3000. If I just got a weird one, let me know that too. If your any contact traces are out there and want to correct me, but this is my family's experience, and I hope that other people aren't getting this advice, and I hope that if they are getting it, they're not listening to it. Could you imagine someone who's like so terrified of COVID that they would leave like any young child, not even just an infant who's like totally unable to help himself, but even like, imagine putting like a 4-year-old and isolating a 4-year-old for 10 days. It's ridiculous. And and I've heard stories, seen stuff on online about people leaving their very young children isolated for a few days, but like, like maybe if a kid's over 10 and you're worried about them being sick or they have actual symptoms, and like again, if I were 10 years old and mom's like, all right, like, well, you're actually sick. We don't want to get the rest of the family sick. So you're going to stay in your room, play video games. Okay. Again, 10 plus, you can handle that. Still not nice, but 10 plus, I can handle that. But any kid who's like much younger than that, no, it's cruel to do that. And it's outrageous that New York State doesn't say like, well, here are best practices for young children in this situation, right? Like it would be great actually if the folks calling us, from the state, from the health departments, were to say, okay, well, because you have a child who is under 1 years old, who is relying on parents for feeding, diapering, things like that. Here are the things that you could do to keep safe. And I don't know if we'd listen to him unless he was showing symptoms anyway, which he didn't. He's fine. But I they New York State, we've been doing this for a year and a half now. Why isn't there advice for stuff? Or at least why aren't public health departments who are interacting with this stuff giving this advice to people who are in this situation? If you should have like an under 2 set of recommendations. You should have like an under 5 set of recommendations, an under 10 set of recommendations. I am sure that pediatricians have thought about this stuff. What is the best way to like make sure that other family members don't get sick if you don't need to, and what are the things that you can do to make sure that your child is having the care that they need? Someone must have thought about this. But no, if the bureaucracy isn't, we're not checking the right boxes or whatever, they're just giving their advice without thinking critically about like how this may or may not meet the needs of our individual family. This is why I find it difficult to trust the government in these situations. It's why a lot of people find it difficult to trust public health. Now, I think there could be a role for public health in some of this stuff. I've said that all along. But my goodness, if you're going to tell families this is how you lose faith. This is how you lose trust in that the system can work. That they not only have your best interests in mind, but also have the expertise and the talent around to deliver on any advice and any recommendations that would actually be helpful for a family. And that's not what I saw. That's not what my experience. Again, I hope someone corrects me. I hope someone calls up and says that I'm wrong. That's not what they're doing. This is a mistake. But yeah, it got a comment from Tim O'Connor. Shout out Tim O'Connor. Will be on Together Friday, and he'll be on tomorrow. He says just clown world. Yeah, no, I agree that like this stuff, it's total joke, and it's and again, I know that this isn't what like the title of the show is for those of you listening online. I do intend to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, and I've been itching to talk about this since like we got the phone call for it like last week. And it's gonna be tough. Like again, I there are a lot of other parents who are going through like what we're going through right now too, where one kid gets sick at their childcare center, and suddenly the whole thing shut down. All right, you're home for 10 days. Hope you have backup childcare or the ability to work from home. Like luckily with my job, my wife's job, like we can work from home. It's not bad working from a computer. It's a bit tough to do that when I have a child who like needs you all day, but it's not impossible. But if you're working at a service industry job or a job that requires you to be there in person, if you're working in construction or something like that, what are you going to do? You have to take 10 days off. How much vacation time do you actually have? Can you take full leave for this stuff? And this is part of the reason why we see a lot of folks dropping out of the workforce right now. Like, a lot of employers are talking about, not being able to find the workers that they need. Women in particular are dropping out of the workforce because of stuff like this, because of COVID policies, right, wrong, well-intentioned or not. Like a lot of folks are like, hey, yeah, how do I like if I don't have childcare for my kid, if I can't get it, if my kid's going to keep getting quarantined, there's a lot of schools in Monroe County out here who are having kids sent home and quarantined because they've been exposed, and you can't test out of that. There's even in a lot of them still, that they're not haven't gotten or can't get vaccinations yet. What are you going to do? How are you going to make your work life operate? For a lot of folks, they say, well, we can't. The best thing we could do right now is drop out, ride out the storm, and hope that we find a better way through these policies in regards to childcare and schooling moving forward. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. Again, if you have thoughts on that, give us a call, 585-346-3000. Again, that's 585-346-3000. We're going to be back with more on A Free Solution in just a few minutes.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Inside the Taylor Laboratories.
Hey, Tony, what you doing?
A little experiment, Zach. Look what I have under the microscope.
Ugh, what's that?
A sample of indoor air.
How can it be that dirty? Don't AC and furnace filters help?
Only with dust, Zach. But when Taylor installs a whole house APCO air purifier to detox the air, odors, chemicals, mold, bacteria, and viruses are removed.
For clean indoor air.
Yep. Ain't science awesome?
Taylor, 500 help.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks again for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here wherever you're listening today. Make sure you leave your comments or give us a call if you want to participate in the discussion. 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. And yeah, so we're talking about my personal family quarantine experience, and yeah, just absolutely ridiculous approach to this stuff. And what I will get to the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, I promise, but I'll stick on the same topic because I wanted to get that off my chest for a while. The quarantine stuff, I was so mad about it last week, and I'll talk about a couple of the other news coming because it's let's talk about the booster shots for a minute, right? I mentioned this a little bit before, but the booster shots are now like rolling out for kind of all adults. It's not just like a 65 plus thing. And to me, I'm like, okay, fine, do your thing. I do get concerned, if are people who had two shots going to still be fully vaccinated at this point? The studies that are available for these booster shots are, is it really all that helpful? I don't know, maybe if you're in a vulnerable position, someone who like works in healthcare and exposed to COVID frequently, maybe it makes sense. But we've kind of lost the thread on some of this stuff, right? Like I think we're looking at a situation where we're seeing big spikes in upstate New York. COVID might be seasonal. It is still dangerous. Again, I've seen it impact friends of mine in a serious way. I've seen it kill people. People I knew, and it's something to take seriously. But also, we have to manage how to operate in a functional society with that. Going back to the situation I was in, like, is it sustainable to send every kid home every time and quarantine an entire room, in some cases, sometimes like half a school, because of a COVID exposure? Will we stop doing that, when the vaccine rates get high enough? What is the end goal here? When do we start to say, well, this is a reasonable trade-off given the actual dangers of the situation? And this, I think this is pretty reasonable. Nathan says on YouTube says, I feel like we should hold at 2 shots until we have long-term results and studies, focus more on therapeutics. That's a fair point. Again, I'm fairly pro-vaccine, but I don't really have an intention on getting a third booster shot because, like, with 2 shots, it still works pretty well in preventing serious illness, because what ends up happening is that after a while, after several months, even after having 2 shots, your body no longer has active antibodies in their systems. And because they don't have antibodies in the system, like, it can't fight the virus as quick, but it still has like the memory cells basically to create new ones should it run into COVID again. So you can get infected, you can get sick for a little bit, but your body already has the tools to fight it. It's not reinventing the wheel here. It's able to just do this. The idea behind a booster shot, right, is if you're someone who's vulnerable, you're immunocompromised, or you're in a position where you're exposed to a lot of illness, maybe it makes sense because you need those antibodies in your system to prevent you from getting sick and prevent that from spreading to other people. But for someone like me, who's relatively healthy, my wife is healthy, my younger kids, like my son, not as high of a risk as the older population. Don't know if it makes sense to me. And there is some level of risk. It felt kind of political back when the first shot got pushed, where the Biden administration kind of got ahead of the science here, got ahead of the studies, to say that everyone needs this. But that's not necessarily true. There also could be drawbacks to doing this too much. We probably should do studies on. I know there are studies happening right now, but there's some risk if you do this too often, that like your body kind of learns the wrong thing, which can happen with some other diseases. I'm not saying that's happening here. I don't know that that's happening here. Take what I'm a dude like spouting his opinion on radio. Don't take anything I say that seriously, but I'm just walking you through what my thoughts are on this. As someone who says, yeah, like the vaccine's probably a good thing. Most people should probably get the first one, but is it necessary to get a third shot later on down the road, a 4th, 5th, 6th one? Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe it's worth getting it in after a while, in the same way we get flu shots, because the disease changes, and it's worth protecting myself from that. But the tricky thing to watch is, again, if the goal is to prevent a mass rise in hospitalizations, I think public policy makes sense to try to achieve that goal. If the goal is to try to prevent all sickness altogether, I don't think that makes as much sense. I don't think that's achievable, and the trade-offs for that aren't worth it. I'll keep going about I'll keep going with what I've said in the beginning, that there's risk in every single thing we do. There's risk in me getting in my car and driving somewhere. Like, we do have to make a trade-off. And especially when it comes to public policy, I don't think that the government always knows the circumstances that exist in my particular situation or your particular situation. I don't know what it is either. I don't know what's best for you and your family. And given that they don't know what those trade-offs are for individuals or for businesses or anyone else, it's better to stay out of it and become a trusted advocate for public health information, which thus far, many, although not all, public health institutions from the CDC on down have failed to gain that trust and have squandered that trust when they were previously some of the most high trust institutions that we had here in the US. I don't think it's all political. I think they have done things to get people to think that they are not approaching things in an honest scientific way, that they're approaching things in a political way. And that's unfortunate. I think that hurts people. Another comment from Janine says, what about people who got the J&J shot? Do we need a booster? If so, which one? Again, ask your doctor. It's like, I think they did come out with a booster for a J&J shot, which works a bit differently than the Pfizer and the Moderna ones. I don't remember what the stupid Pfizer name is. Comirnaty, whatever. But yeah, I think they did come out with a booster kind of for the same reason. Those were mRNA shots. J&J, I think it's like, adenovirus. I don't know how to actually pronounce that type of shot. It works a bit differently. I think they did come out with a booster though. And then I think some public health authority had also said that like you could like kind of mix and match certain ones too. But again, I would just ask your doctor about that. Don't ask a radio host because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just walking you through my decision-making processes and then how those decision-making processes at like a government level end up impacting our individual choices. Because that's what I'm concerned with is like scientists don't always think of like the economic and personal trade-offs of saying everyone should get a shot, which is different than everyone is required to have a shot. And what are the implications for maintaining the workforce that's already struggling to hire people right now, of people who are going out and interacting with the public, of people who are seeing their families again. I don't think that the government should be getting in the way of those decisions for the most part, and we should kind of work that out among ourselves or at the lowest level as possible. So that's where I'm at on that stuff. If anyone else has any thoughts on that, again, give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000, or comment online. Again, we're streaming live on the Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, the Kevin Wilson page, and Kevin Wilson Twitter. So if you're listening on any of those places, live here until 1 o'clock, leave your comments, and if they're good, we'll leave them on there. And going back to Nathan's comment too, focus more on therapeutics. There's some good stuff out there. There's the pill that Merck developed that seems to be really promising if you get in soon enough. There's the antibody treatment, the artificial antibody treatment that's been developed. That stuff works really well. Still better than not get it in the first place, right? Like, but if you do get it, we're doctors and medical staff are getting a whole lot better at treating it. Doesn't mean it's not still dangerous. Still, I think like 1,000 people a day are still dying of COVID. It can still knock you out, and if not kill you, then debilitate you for a while. So do what you can to not get it, especially if you have health conditions. But you're getting better and better at treating that stuff, and then for people with 2 shots, for people who are not likely to get serious illness because they're vaccinated, then yeah, I don't right now. I'm probably not going to get a third one anytime soon. That might change. I mean, I change my stuff all the time, right? Like change my mind. Someone shows me good evidence, I'll may decide something different. No promises to stay totally consistent, folks. That's what it is. And Nathan says, therapeutics will give us more time to wait for the long-term studies. That's my thought process. Great point, Nathan. All right. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. When we come back, I pretty promise I will talk about the thing that I said I would talk about at the top of the show. We'll move on from some of the COVID stuff for now. Thanks again for joining us on Free Solution. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Fly the flag, stand for freedom.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for today. We're going to be looking at a lot of clouds up there. There might be a brief shower, but mainly dry weather ahead. A little breeze will pick up and will turn noticeably milder this afternoon. But there will be that gusty wind out there. Temps today will be in the mid and upper 50s. 50s to near 60 tonight. Showers will increase. Thursday morning rain. Temperatures will fall towards 40 late tomorrow afternoon. I'm Rich Cornelia, WYSL.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
You ever hear the old saying, what you don't know can't hurt you? Well, that's completely false. What you don't know can and will hurt you. This is Vinny Dallo. I'm a financial planner and the founder of Cap'n Financial. I have a saying in my office that is true. Education is the obligation of the expert. That's why I'm on the air on WYSL. Tune into my show, Money Talks, on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. At Cap'n Financial, our process begins with educating our clients on all areas of financial planning. On Money Talks, you'll hear us discuss retirement, investments, insurance, and helpful financial strategies. So be sure to tune in to Money Talks.
Vinny Dallo is a financial advisor offering investment advisory services through Eagle Strategies LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Cap'n Financial, its employees, nor Nylife Securities LLC or its representatives or affiliates provide tax, legal, and accounting advice. Please consult your own tax, legal, or accounting professional before making any decisions. The show is provided for informational purposes only.
It's that time of year again. Time to cut your perfect Christmas tree. Hi, I'm Frank Alexander, owner of Alexander's Tree Farm in Dansville. We've got 20,000 trees and we're ready to welcome you. You can walk to the trees, ride our wagon to the back fields, or pick a pre-cut near the barn. And all for the low price of $44.99. Yes, that's right, only $44.99. Any tree, any size. The store is open with wreaths, ornaments, figurines, and more. Come in and browse around. Our hours are 9 to 4, Saturday and Sunday, November 20th to December 12th, plus Friday, November 26th, 1 to 4. That's Alexander's Tree Farm, 6354 Sterner Road, Dansville. 335-8282 or alexanderstreefarm.com. See you soon and Merry Christmas.
When you feel sick for whatever reason, don't wait to get help. Noise Health Urgent Care now offers telemedicine appointments using your device to meet with a provider face-to-face from the comfort of your home. Call 585-243-9595 to schedule an appointment. Noise Health Urgent Care is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, even weekends and holidays. Walk-ins welcome at our Geneseo location, 50 East South Street. Digital X-ray available too. Noise Health Urgent Care. Your health care, your way.
While many local collision and repair shops have been gobbled up by national chains with their impersonal touch, Flower City Collision remains locally owned and operated. The shop was started by a local veteran who taught his son Zach the basics in customer service and providing customers value. Flower City doesn't work with a specific insurance company. They want to be your advocate. If you need a repair, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta. He will work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure you get the repair you need done right.
Tom Walls. Let me cook you the best cheeseburger you've ever had, the crispiest french fries. Let me serve you a frosted mug of Tom Walls root beer that we make one small batch at a time. Tom Walls.
Tom Walls.
Last year, your Thanksgiving was probably not normal, but for too many men, women, and children in Rochester, normal means not enough to eat and too little hope. You can change that for as little as $2.63. Go to opendoormission.com.
A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thanks again for joining us. We're live here on WYSL until 1 p.m. Give us a call if you want to participate in the discussion. 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We're also live on the Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, the Kevin Wilson page, and the Kevin Wilson Twitter accounts. Wherever you're listening today, appreciate y'all being here. You're listening online, leave a comment or call in. Again, 585-346-3000. Shout out on the line to our friends over at WACK out in Newark. Appreciate y'all being here too, and our friends listening on the podcast as well. Just look for a Free Solution on any podcasting app. You should be able to find us, and our whole backlog of episodes going way back when, even to the Radio Free New York days. A couple more questions before we move on, though. A couple comments. Janine says, the problem I have is that a mandate is a way for executive to bypass the legislature, which is supposed to keep them in check. Our governor and our president who issue mandates are acting as dictators. Our Constitution was designed to prevent that. No, sorry, I think I said Janine. Jean Sprouse. Yeah, no, that's 100%. That's we are in a society that is getting, not the folks listening to this show, but many people are more comfortable with rule by fiat, by the president or a governor just signing an executive order and saying, this is the law now. This is going to have implications for your work, your social life, all sorts of stuff. But that's not how a constitutional system is supposed to work. Not everything is supposed to go through the executive, and a term, not just term limits, but a single term, an election is not enough to keep an executive accountable. We can't just rely on elections alone. We have to rely on constitutional structure, the rule of law, and a republic structure to make sure that our rights are protected, and that any restriction on our liberty has to be in a legitimate public interest. And I think there are very, very few of those. I'm sure other folks would disagree, but I'm sure many of the listeners on this show would agree with me that there are very, very few circumstances in which our liberty should be limited, and those should not come at the hand of an executive order. And Gene goes on to say, I don't live in New York, but in my state, the governor acted much like Cuomo did with the mandates. Your new governor is very much like Cuomo too, if not worse. Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with you there. And whatever state you're from, it's not just a New York problem. It's happening everywhere. This is I think a nationwide cultural and political problem where people want to see strong leaders take swift action on solving problems. And if you haven't already, go read The Road to Serfdom. And there's some great short explainer videos on what that does. But when you have the government trying to do too much, when people start to get frustrated with legislatures not being able to solve the complex problems that they promise to solve quick enough, when you move away from individual liberty and agency and towards the state controlling everything, that inevitably leads to a strongman, a dictator. That's what's going to happen. And all right, so we'll move on though. And shout out Nathan for calling out Larry Sharp. So yeah, again, Larry Sharp, Tuesday co-host on this show, and I'm glad that he's on our side, because yeah, man, he knows how to explain some of this stuff way better than I do. And we'll move on though. We'll talk about some of the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff, because I think there's a couple interesting implications here, and kind of drawing that comparison between the Kyle Rittenhouse moment and the Ahmaud Arbery moment. And for those of you who don't remember, that trial is still going on. That's going on in Georgia, the Ahmaud Arbery stuff. So that was a guy who he'd kind of been running around a neighborhood. He was running like a jogger, had kind of like looked at a house that was under construction. A couple guys decided to take it upon themselves to go and chase him down. And in the process of chasing this guy down and confronting him with a weapon, they shot and killed him twice. Again, that's not an allegation at this point. That's a confirmed fact that they killed him. And what is up for debate is whether or not they had a legitimate self-defense claim here, right? But what the prosecution is saying in this case is that, these two guys had started the incident. They were the aggressors. They decided to confront this person alone. They were acting as vigilantes, and regardless of what happened in anything after that, then the preceding actions could be, Ahmaud Arbery is trying to defend himself, and they shot and killed him because they decided to go and confront this dude instead of calling the police, going through like the normal legal channels, not doing things the right way. So you got this incident, and then you have this other incident here where it's where Kyle Rittenhouse was at, a building, trying to protect it in his mind from people who are looting, rioting, making a real mess of the situation out there. And I don't think this is up for debate. This is an established fact of that case now that Kyle was attacked by people, that some guys did go after him. Doesn't matter if he should have been there or not. Some folks did go after him, and in that process, did he defend himself in a legitimate way when Kyle Rittenhouse killed two people and shot a third person? And whenever we end up talking about these issues like in a forum like this, right? Like, and this is a political radio show, it's hard to separate the facts of the situation from the political and cultural baggage of what goes on here, right? Like these are kind of nominally related cases in the sense that, how do we as Americans exercise our gun rights in a responsible way? And if we are put in a situation where we use our firearm, what are the legitimate cases for self-defense? And then how do you know if you're the one who is the aggressor in this situation? Are you putting yourself in a situation where you didn't need to be, where you are there to cause trouble, where you are there intending to harm someone, where someone else, could have solved the problem? We give the police, the state, the legitimate monopoly on violence. So do we, by which I mean, like, they're the only ones who are legally allowed in most situations to solve a problem with violence. That's not a judgment on police per se. It's just a statement of fact that is how police work. They're able to use violence to get compliance with following laws or stop bad guys. Whereas us as not members of the police do not have the same right to do so, except for in strict self-defense situations, right? Otherwise, you're breaking the law if you go and beat someone up because they're causing a problem. You can still get in trouble for that. So that's kind of my kind of thoughts on like the relation between these two cases, right? Again, in the Ahmaud Arbery case, it does seem like these guys like probably got way more involved than they should have. They shouldn't have been in that situation. They were not in danger. They, did not need to confront this person directly. That none of their properties were under threat. They didn't need to be the one to confront this, and they started that confrontation. And so, yeah, I mean, like, to me, like, that's not okay. You're not allowed to do that. I can't go, like, if I think there's some weird acting on my street, I can't go and chase them down with a gun. And they might be correct to assume that I might intend them harm. and would also have a right to defend themselves in that situation. Again, these guys came after Ahmaud Arbery. The Kyle Rittenhouse situation, again, I don't know if he should have been there. It looks like the gun charges are dropped against him. But if you are out there, you're in that situation, and you're attacked, and someone does something foolhardy enough, like attacking someone with a gun, attacking a young kid with little training, holding a gun, does that constitute a legitimate self-defense claim? And maybe if not just for the facts of the case, but also for like an prosecution in this case, maybe that's enough to get an acquittal for Kyle Rittenhouse. We'll see what it is. I try not to place my political baggage on this too much. My thoughts on gun rights, like what are the actual facts of the situation. But I do think we have to talk about what the implications are for the rights of gun owners in both these situations, and how we act responsibly enough to make sure that right doesn't start to lose its cultural value too. I think it's important. Again, irresponsible gun owners do erode the positive associations with that right. All right, so when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Rittenhouse trial, some of the again the interesting libertarian implications of that too. Appreciate y'all joining us. Give us a call if you want to participate in the show. 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We're going to be back in just a few minutes here on A Free Solution.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Need help with health insurance? The Greece Regional Chamber provides assistance with health insurance for businesses, nonprofits, families, and individuals throughout our region. We pride ourselves on the personalized service that we provide for our clients. Let us help you find health insurance plans that fit your needs and navigate the paperwork. Greece Chamber Benefit Partners, located at 2402 Westridge Road in Rochester, New York, offers a broad range of medical insurance plans for businesses, nonprofits, individuals, and families throughout the greater Rochester Finger Lakes region, working with insurance companies including Excelis Blue Cross Blue Shield, Univera, and MVP Healthcare. We can also help you access insurance plans through the New York State of Health, the official health plan marketplace. Again, you do not need to live or work in Greece to utilize our brokerage services. We serve the greater Rochester Finger Lakes region of New York State. Visit greecechamber.org to sign up for one of our free health insurance information sessions or schedule an appointment with one of our licensed brokers. Call 585-227-7272. 585-227-7272.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
Welcome back to Avery Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Again, thanks for joining us. Give us a call if you want to participate in the show, 585-346-3000, or leave your comments online. Appreciate all the great comments today. Thank you so much. We're talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And Tim and I kind of touched on this on last Friday's show. I think it was last Friday's show. I lose track of stuff. But we talked about kind of the civil liberty implications of this trial, too, where it's so, again, because all this stuff is so caught up in cultural and political baggage. You got the left like criticizing the judge for being too harsh on the prosecution, for calling out the fact that prosecutors were implying that Kyle Rittenhouse's silence after the incident was somehow indicative of his guilt, that because he didn't say anything is no. Listen, if you're ever accused of a crime, shut up. Do not talk to anyone without talking to a lawyer first. Like, it's a bad idea to go and talk to the police if you're in a situation, because even if you didn't do anything wrong, you can still find yourself in trouble if you make a misstatement or you lie. That's how a lot of the folks in kind of Trump sphere ended up getting in trouble with like kind of the impeachment stuff and some of the stuff that went around, is because it wasn't that they proved that they had done something wrong. It's that they were accused of lying to the FBI. But same thing, don't say anything. It's just it's a bad idea. You got to be really careful about this stuff. Talk to a lawyer. And rightly, the judge, just kind of slap down the prosecutors for saying that type of thing. And that is the right thing. So the guy, Judge Bruce Schroeder, I assume that's how his name is. He said that you are not allowed to do that stuff. It is, basic law that you have the right to remain silent. It's been basic law for a long time. And it's wild to me to see progressives like not understand this stuff, to go around and be advocates of criminal justice reform. But as soon as the wrong person is up there, right? As soon as like their political and cultural enemy is on the hot seat, suddenly like, throw the book at him. Why is the judge being all soft by respecting this man's rights? Why are we not allowing the prosecution to say that like he should be able to remain silent, that he should make ridiculous claims about his relation to Call of Duty, that and one of the oddest freakouts I've seen is like people are upset because the jury selection, like when it happened, right? So apparently what they do, I read up on this, they will bring in more jurors to watch the trial than actually get to decide on the case, right? Again, this is my layperson's understanding this. So they'll bring in a handful extra just in case something happens where one of the jurors has, a medical incident, can't do it anymore, or they get compromised in some way by like saying something publicly about the case or whatever it may be, right? You have some like backups. And then if you still have whatever, 16 jurors at the end and you need 12, they pick numbers out of a lottery, random lottery, to decide who's going to be on the actual jury of 12 people, right? And I guess this isn't all that uncommon. And I've never paid all that much attention to this stuff, but like 2 seconds of like looking that up, could have saved a ton of people looking like fools with this stuff. Because like, oh man, the judge let Kyle pick numbers out of a basket, and like that's somehow tampering with the jury, and he's giving him an unfair advantage. Like, there were random numbers on a sheet of paper in a basket. Like, what the heck are you people talking about? Like, just that's it. A few seconds of Googling this could have said, okay, well, this isn't an unusual way of doing things, and there are reasons why you dismiss a handful of jurors. And just a couple seconds Google it. Like, this thing has caused people to lose their minds. But listen, so conservatives, you're not totally off the hook either. Like, again, the criticisms that the judge has leveled against the prosecution in this case, where the prosecution is making what seem like misleading statements, things that aren't connected to the actual facts of the case, trying to build a character profile of Kyle that might not be true, of not respecting his constitutional rights. Again, this stuff happens all the time. It is not that uncommon. It's just that most of the time, this stuff ain't being televised. And I want you to think, and I hope this is a good moment for folks who are recognizing some of the injustice in that case. This happens to a bunch of other people. A lot of people, again, who have fewer resources than Kyle Rittenhouse has, who don't have as good of lawyers as he has, that maybe they're working with, a public defender who is 1,000 other cases. They don't know what their rights are in that situation, and they can get stomped all over. And I just want you to think, when I talk about this issue in the future, when it is someone that you do not like in the hot seat, who is again, maybe a political enemy, and I started talking about criminal justice reform, and I started talking about rights of defendants and stuff like that, things that are really important to people who love liberty and love the Constitution. When it is your political enemy on the hot seat, do you keep the same principles? Will you keep those same principles regardless of who is there? And I think that is the measure of someone that I trust in politics nowadays. If the government is not someone controlled by someone who's friendly to you, if someone's rights who is from the other tribe are in jeopardy, do you still defend those fundamental principles, or do they get thrown out the window for the quick political convenience of making sure that the enemy gets punished, that the other side gets punished, whether you're Republican or Democrat or whatever? Do those principles go out the window depending on what is happening to who, or do they stay consistent? And read a comment from Tim O'Connor too. The prosecutorial gambit, threaten and hope for a plea. Yeah, that's what happens in a lot of cases. Look at I haven't read much about this because this kind of just came out. But look at some of the cases in the Capitol riots, the January 6th incident, right? A lot of them are taking plea deals. Some of them are taking plea deals for a pretty long time, and if they're not going to jury trials, it's going to be interesting. Were they intimidated into taking a deal that wasn't that good because they didn't know their rights, or they didn't have lawyers who were able to advocate for them successfully? I don't know that a plea deal is a bad idea in all cases, but a lot of times people are intimidated to taking these because they're like, well, you can spend 3 years in jail and we'll have you that now, or you can take a gamble and go to a jury trial and maybe you'll get 25 years in jail. And for a lot of folks, they just say, well, dude, I don't want that kind of risk. I'll take the 3 years in jail and I'll get out. Even though they could go to a jury trial and win. All right. Appreciate y'all being here today. Appreciate y'all listening. I think I got some praise hands from Nathan in there. And then one more comment from Tim. Principles today is loving your favorite authoritarian, supporting his or punishing your enemies. That's what it is. Look for the people with principles. They're out there. There's lots of them. All right. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. I appreciate y'all being here. Tim O'Connor is going to be on tomorrow, and him and I will be on Friday. So somehow we'll be on. It'll happen. Again, appreciate you listening today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Talk to you later this week. Take care.